Hey everyone, this is Martin. I would like to welcome you to our channel. My wife and I have started this channel because we wanted to highlight and demonstrate the process of moving back to the land, becoming more self-sufficient, and just achieving a greater sense of freedom in our life. I've got a question earlier today from someone that actually I hadn't really thought about this, even though we have done this very similar kind of a thing before. And it has to do with generating income sources by way of campsite or camper rental or cabin rentals. And like a lot of the videos, I mean, you'll see videos, I'll put a link up here somewhere where we talk about our campsite and cabin rentals and how beneficial that has been to us to go move back out of the land kind of the way we've done down here. And the question was specifically about someone had asked about would it be feasible to convert an old school bus into a camper, and then because they don't have land of their own, they could either lease some land to put it on and rent it out, or to possibly rent a space in an RV park. And ironically, I mean, I'd not thought about that for a long time, but we had actually done that about 9 years ago, 8 or 9 years ago, when we bought the last RV park that we have. And it's one that we still own, but when we got it, it was struggling for income. I mean, it was doing okay, but it wasn't really making it. And so that got me thinking and remembering back to when we did that. And I sent a message to her. I hope you got it, but yes, it's possible to do that. They were a little bit afraid of zoning regulations and things like that. And the beautiful part about the zoning when it comes to renting campers is that if you're leasing out a space in an existing RV park or campground, they've already got the zoning in place for that. And it doesn't matter where you're at, the zoning is going to be there for it. You know, the only obstacle you're going to have is whether or not you can work out a deal to work with a campground or RV park in order to park your camper or your trailer, in this case a bus they were talking about doing, in there. And so I thought, I'll just shoot a quick video on this and give our experiences with that, because it really did work out, especially when we were first getting started and we couldn't keep the campground full all the time. It was a very appealing kind of a proposition. And what we did was we had a couple of employees that had campers and that they weren't using, and so we talked to them about, hey, if you want to set them up on a site that is not often used, and we can work out a deal to where you can go ahead and list them on Airbnb or however you want to list them, word of mouth or whatever, or we'll even put a link on our website for a camper rental on site, so they don't have to bring a camper with them. They can come in and just camp in one of the ones we have there, and then everybody kind of makes a little bit of money on that. And so how the process worked specifically is we made an arrangement, because our sites weren't full all the time. There's a lot of them that weren't. We let them park on a couple of sites that were very seldom used. And the deal was that they could sit there, and anytime that they had a guest come in to rent there, they would kind of rent it through the RV park that we have through the reservation system. And they would, for the nights that they had guests in there, they had customers there, they would pay us for the typical site rental for that site. They would keep everything else for the renting of the camper, or in this case, like the lady was talking about, a bus. But it worked out really, really well, because they were, in our neighborhood, it was very easy to get $40 per night for a campsite. But if they rented a camper on site, on that site, they could ask $120 for it, or even $100 was even good for them. And so they were able to, without having the expense of owning a piece of land or making sure that the zoning was all there or all the amenities were in place, they were able to just park a camper there and start renting it out. And then we kept the site rental, they kept the camper rental portion. And it worked really, really well. And as far as a converted school bus to a camper, that is going to come down to whether or not the owners of the campground are interested in having that kind of a vehicle on their site or not. Some of them would not be interested in that. but some of them probably would or wouldn't mind. And because I have been in plenty of campgrounds where they've had school bus campers parked there, so it's possible to do that. If you are going to think about trying something like that, whether it's with some kind of an RV camper, or I guess even a tent for that matter, or school bus, converted school bus, what you'd want to do is, me speaking from the owner's point of view, if I have sites that just never get filled, I would be very open to turning those sites into some form of income. And so you just have to be able to work out with the owners what kind of an arrangement would be good for you and for them, that would be mutually beneficial to both of you, and give it a try. You'll have to work out an insurance thing. You know, some places we let them kind of cover because we would actually do the processing of renting them ourselves through our reservation system. We kind of covered the cost of the insurance that was on there. If an owner of a campground is not willing to do that, then you might have to cover your own insurance on those. We made the owner responsible for doing the housekeeping after a guest has been there, kind of keeping the site clean, taking care of all of the maintenance and repairs on their own vehicles. And then also, one big important thing was we made them responsible for taking care of any emergency calls that vehicle or that camper, or in this case bus, I guess, generated. If there was an emergency call on it, they had to be the one to take care of it. And so that's something that can be worked out between you and owner, whatever else. I mean, it's all details that you would have to work out. But it was a lucrative thing for our employees that had campers that wanted to put them there and do that with. And it was good for us because it put sites that were typically not used into service, and everybody made some money on those. Anyway, that's my thought on that. It can go deeper than that, but for the most part, that's the general idea of what we did, and it worked well. So if you're one of those ones, or if you're the specific one that I responded to on that question earlier, then yes, it does work. There are moving parts to the whole thing that you have to work your way through, but it does work, and it turned out to be a win-win for all of us involved when we were doing that. Nowadays, we pretty much stay as full as we need to be, and we're happy with that. But back in the beginning, it really did help out. Anyway, I hope that is some beneficial information, another way to turn maybe something you have sitting in the backyard into income, and without actually selling it. You can just sell it by the night, and it works out really well. Remember, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and we'll see you next time. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a like and a share, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and the notification bell. See you next time.